Christ is born. Christ is born. Yet Rachel weeps and laments. She will not allow herself to be comforted, for her children are no more. Rachel wept. So as we continue to celebrate the Nativity of our Lord, Christmas, the light of the world, we're also confronted with darkness, a dark tale. We witness Joseph's humble, obedient, heroic response to God's prompt to protect the most vulnerable member of his family, the Christ child. Then we see the prideful, jealous, fearful Herod strike out in the slaughter of the innocents. The slaughter of the innocents. And Rachel wept. So my mother isn't here today. You've seen my mother. She's been in a wheelchair lately. She's 96 years old. I can count before now on one hand the time she would have missed church. She's become frail at 96. Sometimes she sleeps all day. So it may be hard for any of you to imagine her running into an abortion clinic, jumping over a counter, and wrapping her arms around a piece of equipment until the police removed her. Getting thrown in jail in Los Angeles, in Washington, D.C., in Phoenix, Arizona. First, my mother wept in 1973. And then she prayed, and then she advocated, and then she took action. She had a rap sheet longer than all 6 of her sons combined, and only stopped getting arrested when my father asked her to stop getting arrested. And she honored his request as head of the household. And she passed that love of life on down to the next generation. Wherever else our politics might have taken us or our journeys, we kept that love of life. That prayer, that advocacy, and that action. Brothers and sisters, do we weep today? What Father said about do we pick a baby or a puppy, entertaining little mind thought experiment. But if you're out on the internet today, you'll see people who just don't see the loss of life, the loss of innocent life, as something to be wept about. Sometimes it's celebrated. There's actually a mockery of Christ in there. Christ says, "This is my body," when he talks about the Eucharist. That's an argument for someone's choice to take away human life. This is my body. It's literally a diabolical mockery. Herod saw the Christ child as a threat to his kingdom, a threat to what he wanted to accomplish in the world, his ambition, and sacrificed the thousands of the innocent on that goal. Some of the icons, Father reminded me, some of the icons of the slaughter of the innocents have Herod's soldiers depicted as demons, because of course it was demonic. And the parallel today should not be lost on us. And brothers and sisters, the church says this in love, because we all know people who have suffered from abortion. We know women who've had them. We know men who've been involved in them. It does nobody any good to say that that was no big deal, or that it was just a lifestyle choice, because then we can't offer the healing that the church offers. The church offers healing and forgiveness total healing and forgiveness for those people who have been involved. And we need to always extend that in love, but it doesn't mean we can ever back down from the truth of what the slaughter of the innocents is. And the church didn't just decide this one day. When I was in the seminary, they taught us a 7-fold test, and I won't recount them all to you today, to see if a church teaching was infallible, to see if it is dogmatic. But there's some fundamental tests. One is, has the church ever taught anything different than what it teaches now? The answer is no. The church has never taught anything different than what it teaches now about the sanctity of every human life. Then we go to the Scriptures. The Scriptures tell us that life at conception is holy. You knit me in my mother's womb. I praise you, God, because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And John the forerunner recognized the Christ before he was born and leapt in Elizabeth's womb. So the Scriptures are clear. And then tradition, the Didache, an early Christian writing, thou shalt not kill a child in the womb. And St. John Chrysostom called it tyranny that we would take the life of the defenseless. But I do believe, brothers and sisters, right now, and I know I'm speaking to people who I believe the church is teaching, but we're in a world that does not. And whether it's in conversation, or whether it's when someone comes to you, or whether when you're asked to vote on a ballot initiative that's going to expand abortion access, I think we begin by allowing ourselves to weep at the loss. And then to recognize, we don't have to get into religious arguments, to recognize that in our society, children are also seen as an inconvenience too often, as a barrier to ambition, as something going to prevent somebody from living the life that they had hoped. But we know that's not true. We know our God is a God of life. And when a woman finds herself in that situation, what she needs is love and support and care. And we can offer that. So brothers and sisters, when we contemplate the historical event of the flight to Egypt, and the slaughter of the innocents, we can allow ourselves to weep. And that can bring us to prayer, to advocate for the defense of all life from conception to a natural death. And then we're called to act. And that act might inconvenience us, to take a pregnant mother into our home, to support a young family. But it is what God calls us to do. Our God is a God of life. And every life to Him is precious. In the name of the Father, and Son, and Spirit.